American children have an online presence before the age of 2. Parents post nearly 1,000 images of their children online before their 5th birthday. Is this safe from a privacy or security standpoint? And what of our own need to find acceptance through likes, swipes, and hearts? Here to help us sort it all out is our social media expert, Ms. Tamell Green. Hi, Tamell.
Hi, how you doing today?
All is well, all is well. I want you to kind of help us break down this whole, some of the psychology, I guess, around social media. We're all on it. We use multiple forms of social media. What do you think we get out of that?
I think the best thing that we get out of social media is that we're building our relationships. The ones that we have offline, we're building those online. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, it's not just about, sharing in the successes of everybody, what our kids are doing or what our friends are doing, but also when we have a loss, so a loved one has passed, or anything like that, we're able to share in those things online as well,
mm-hmm.
To give a comforting word.
Absolutely. And I use a lot of different social media sites or platforms for different reasons.
Right.
And so there's some, like Facebook, I'll do just primarily hang out with friends.
Right.
But then from a business standpoint, I like to use Twitter or LinkedIn or one of those. But I'm looking at certain behaviors online that I like to address. And because I think we use it and it's really advantageous for us, and I like to look at that part of it first, but then there are some other parts of using social media that might be kind of damaging to us when we think about it, especially if you're out looking for a job or anything along that line. So let's first look at just the advantages of being on social media. A lot of people shy away from it at times. They think it's, I don't know what they think, but they don't want to be a part of that. They won't have any parts of it. How would you encourage somebody to use social media to their advantage?
Using social media to your advantage, especially for entrepreneurs, having a Facebook page or any type of social media to help get your business out there is a good way to use it. Mm-hmm. And social media is one of those things, it depends on which vantage point, how you're using it. As parents, it's a good way to stay in touch with your kids, mm-hmm. and to make sure that they're being safe online and that they're doing safe things. They're posting things and sometimes they're not being thinking about what they're posting. Mm-hmm. So it's good as a good tool as parents to make sure that they're posting the right things.
Mm-hmm. I see adult post stuff that that's a little concerning for me at times. So it is an opportunity to kind of connect with people, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, I have family that's in a lot of different places across the country. So to stay in touch with them and put pictures out there for them to stay in touch and see the kids and the growth and the development, that helps out quite a bit. But then, in the same article I was mentioning earlier that Time Magazine put out, I did not realize there were so many apps and different means for kids, especially teenagers and teenage girls, to go on that we parents may not know about, and they're sexting and posting nude photos and all of this kind of stuff. And what was once virtual can also become a real physical hookup, right?
Right.
So people are doing a lot of things. How do you stay abreast of all of the different, what should we be doing as parents? It's just too many different social media outlets for us to keep up with. So how do we keep up with that with our kids?
As parents, you have to be proactive. If you're not that type of parent who is tech savvy and you're not following your kids online, then you're really are going to have some surprises, and you don't want to have surprises, at least not those type of surprises. So I would suggest that you at least learn some type of social media, get the apps and, play around with it. And the kids know it, and they will be happy to teach you. I say happy if they're not doing anything that they don't want you to know. But even if you are getting your kids, allowing them to have cell phones, mm-hmm. which most people use their smartphones for social media. Mm-hmm. So you want to be mindful of the fact that, they're able to download things. But as a parent, you want to make sure that you're looking at what they're downloading. And if you can restrict them to at least one social media platform, or maybe 2 until you learn it, mm-hmm. And then also, I want to just talk about, relationships offline as online. So the things that you're teaching your children in a day-to-day arena should also translate online. Mm-hmm. So the things that we're teaching our daughters and our son to do now, is to make sure that whatever they're posting is not something that is going to be detrimental to them, to us, or to anything that they have going on, mm-hmm. School-wise, or anything. And you have to think about those things when they're posting. So the more you teach them about themselves, they won't want to post certain things. You know, they won't. Once they know that, you know, I'm not going to wear this type of clothing, then they wouldn't post that type of clothing online.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people get bolder because they can hide behind a computer or a phone or something like that, and they'll do things that they won't normally do. I see that also in adults.
Yes.
So I'm not one to say we need to shut down people's ability to be able to express themselves, but there are some posts. The thing that I'm challenged by is because I may be connected to various people online, I don't always share their opinions about certain things.
Right.
Now, we have that First Amendment right to say whatever we so choose. I would never shut anybody down from that. But I don't always know how to handle, you know, some of the things that I see show up in my feed, and it's not what I would normally associate myself with.
Right.
All right. So if I see, you know, nudity or real coarse language or real, you know, just things that I personally find offensive, how does that impact how other people see me? Because I know I've read where certain companies, say for instance, if you're looking for a job, they now actively go out and look for people on social media sites to see what they're about. How do you handle that? What do you recommend in that area?
Well, first of all, we want to make sure that we're not posting things that we wouldn't want our mother to see. You know, or, you know, if you're, you know, religious at all, and you don't want God to see it either, you know. So you want to make sure you're doing that. And thinking about, you know, when you're looking for a job or something like that, you know, I've seen people say, I told my boss I wasn't coming in today because I'm sick, and then they're out shopping or something like that. So you're not being mindful of what you're doing and how it's affected your possible job,
right.
You know. But what you want to make sure is that you're just paying attention to that kind of stuff, you know, and just make sure that you are keeping yourself in a way that you want people to see you.
Right.
You know?
I wonder if this might be too far-fetched, but I'm just thinking about the responsibility I have as a person who's posting. Because if some of my posts show up in other people's feeds, then that's impacting them in some way, right?
True. Yeah.
So I think about what I put out there. Is it meaningful? Does it have substance? Is it going to uplift? You know, or even if it sparks a conversation. So here's the other thing. So people arguing online. What do you think about that? How do you suggest people handle the disagreements? I see these, you know, the little nastiness that occurs out there.
Well, I don't think nothing's wrong with it because, you know, having a conversation online is what you want to do. You want to be able to have the conversation, and you want to be able to, you know, voice your opinion. What you want to make sure, though, is that you're not getting so upset, you know, that somebody's disagreeing with you that you're starting to call names and, you know, do things that you, again, would want to be doing offline that could be, you know, you could go to jail for or something like that. You know, you don't want to slander people and things of that nature. But sometimes, you know, you may see something that's kind of funny and you might not share it on your page, but, you know, sometimes I'll inbox it to whoever I wanted to see it. Not that people can't screenshot stuff, but I inbox it to those who I think would enjoy the same type of humor that I have.
Right. We need to use that DM more often, don't we?
Yes.
Because a lot of things that we need to share on a personal level with people who can get it.
Exactly.
Everybody might not receive it as well, so you might want to kind of do it on a more personal. Well, how do you use? I mean, what do you recommend if you had to give people, you know, to make this advantageous for them? How would you recommend? And which do you see any sites that are more user friendly than others?
Well, to me, Facebook is more user friendly, especially for people who are just trying to get on social media. There's so many different things you can do. You know, you can use Facebook groups. You know, if you have a family reunion coming up or something, and you want to put all your family in one group, that's a good way to stay in touch and to, you know, offer suggestions on different things. And you can make your group secret so that no one else sees what you post. And then there's also different notes and all kinds of things. And Facebook also has a lot of different privacy settings that you can use. And you have to be mindful of your privacy settings because sometimes if you choose that your friends can see things, that's fine. But you also have a setting that says your friends of friends can see things, you know. So if it's something that you only want to share with a certain set of people, you can choose that type of group on your Facebook page. So I just suggest Facebook for a newbie, if they want to just get into social media. But Twitter is fine, all of them are fun, but you just want to be safe with them.
Right.
There's so many different things happening with people sharing too much information, letting people know that they're away from home. And we're all guilty of it.
Right.
We check in here and check in there, and that lets people know that you're not home.
Right.
So just be mindful of things like that.
And that safety is a big issue, I do believe, around that, because I don't know, I get people, sometimes you get these people who you don't really know, but they know people you know.
Exactly.
So you might be willing to say, okay, because they know we got 50 mutual friends, I'll let them in. But then they start creeping around in the back, it seems, and trying to start a conversation. And I'm real cautious about that. Do you have any tips or ideas around how we should choose who we let into our circles?
And you have to make sure, because sometimes you may have someone that's requesting you as a friend, that you do have mutual friends. But one thing I have to look at now, because I do manage other people's pages, I have to make sure my account is very secure so that I don't, mess up their stuff. So sometimes you can see somebody might not have 200 friends, and you have about 60 mutual friends. I would not friend that person, because 9 times out of 10, most people have a Facebook page at least. And if they're just coming on social media, depending on the age range or what type of things I see on their profile, I don't friend them. So you use your gut feeling too, whenever you're friending people, because you want to make sure it's something, there's not some person that's going to give you a virus or do different things. Because you notice that sometimes on your friends' pages you may see that they have a virus. Somebody has hacked their account.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're getting secure passwords. You're doing different levels of security. Facebook also has this feature where once you log into your account, Facebook will also send you a text message to log in a code, which will also get you into your Facebook account. So you just want to be making sure that your account is secure, and just being mindful of who all you're letting into your circle. Think about those same things you would do on a day-to-day basis. You keep those same things on.
Right. So if I'm in person with that individual, would I be as receptive to them
exactly
as being online?
And sometimes if you friend someone and you're not liking what they post, I mean, unfriend them. There's nothing that says you have to stay friends.
Stay friends with them, huh? Right? Yeah. You know what? And a lot of people ask that question. If I unfriend somebody, will they know? Do they know?
They don't know, but if they do, I mean, in real life they know. So why they can't know online?
That's a good point. And I think it does challenge us because there are people I consider to be friends, pretty good friends that are online with me, but especially if they've been people, because you end up finding a lot of people you didn't know from school and past jobs and all kinds of other places where you connected with people, and then you start finding out things about them on a deeper level by some of their posts. I always say pause before you post. I try my best to do that. And I find that we have a lot of differences of opinion, and that's okay about certain things, but some of it to me is a little disturbing because we are so different. And I sometimes wonder, should I just unfriend that individual? And I was wondering if they could see it. I don't know. I just think that nowadays we have to be very careful about how we present ourselves to the public. So when we're looking at, or when other people are looking at us, what are some, I don't know, maybe some 3 best practices if you had to tell people, here's how you keep your whatever the social media platform you use, how do you keep it clean and fresh and that people want to look at and follow you on? What would you recommend they put on there?
I would recommend, of course, if it's your personal page, you want to share different things with your friends and family of things you want to celebrate, inspirational quotes or videos, something that's going to make them smile that day. Sometimes people are just, waiting for the bus or waiting for the next meeting, and they're scrolling through Facebook or whatever, and they see that one thing and like, it brightens their day. Make sure you're posting things like that. And then there's also a feature on Facebook where if people tag you in something, it doesn't automatically go onto your news, your timeline. So that way you can actually go behind the scenes and figure out, do I want to add this to my timeline or not? And then you can also untag yourself.
Okay.
Because what people need to realize is once someone tags you in something, it's already out there. You know, so just because you hide it on your timeline does not mean it still wouldn't come up. You have to also untag yourself as well. So just get a little bit more savvy as far as it goes with the privacy settings. And once you get into that and knowing what Facebook can and cannot do, that will really help you in knowing what can you share with this group or with that group. And really, Facebook can be used however you want it to be used and with whom you want it to be used with.
All right. And so when I think about some of those, the various ones, I know we're talking a lot about Facebook, but there are a lot of ways in which we can reach other people. And so when we look at, whether it's like a LinkedIn or something, what do you recommend to people as far as how to promote themselves in a positive way if they are looking at a career change or they're trying to get a job or something along that line? What should they be putting out there for people to see right away?
Well, I would definitely make sure that I have a LinkedIn account if I didn't have any other social media, because LinkedIn is one of the places that employers are looking to make sure of what you have. And then on that LinkedIn account, I will also get recommendations from other employers. You know, back in the day, we would go and hand resumes in, and also, have call referrals or recommendations. But now employers are getting things, sent online and things like that. So LinkedIn is like one of those places where you can go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and let people recommend you from different jobs you've had. And you also can just, put content on there that shows what videos you may have done.
That's right.
Or of you doing different things. And LinkedIn would just be the best way, I would say, start. But if you just have a Facebook page, just make sure you keep it clean, because employers are looking at that.
Right.
They're going through, and they're just like we do as people, we may search somebody before we actually talk to that person.
That's right.
Or whatever, even with my daughters, when they have new friends, I do look at their family's Facebook account and just kind of see what kind of people they are. And of course, people can put out false stuff,
right? But
it still gives you a sense of looking, let's see what's going on. So when you're looking for a job, just make sure you have a clean page.
You can tell. I mean, people don't realize that their personality comes through on those posts, because their posts are generally going to be the same type of post most times, right?
Yes.
So you can find the fun-loving people because they put all kinds of really funny stuff out there. You can find the ones who are very politically active because they put a lot of political comments and that kind of thing out. You can find the ones who are into the arts or whatever it is. So we tend to follow our personality on there, and I don't think people realize how much they're creating a picture or a story about themselves when they put these posts out there.
That's true.
So if we're not aware of that, we can really be coloring ourselves in a way that we don't want to.
Right.
And that's the thing I want to kind of get people to understand. It's a fun tool. Those are fun tools to use, but they're very beneficial to us in a lot of ways. And then at the same time, they can cause us some problems.
Yes.
So would you leave us with any kind of tips or tools you would recommend? Because you say you manage other people's pages.
Right.
So what do you keep in mind, or what do you try to do as a professional in making sure that those pages are always kept up to par?
I make sure that I do reply to people that, make comments on their pages. And I keep it clean. Even if people, say bad things, I still reply. Because bad reviews are not always bad. You need to show how you handle conflict resolution as a business. So I make sure that I respond, and I try to keep the voice of the business, not of myself.
Right.
You have to make sure that you're not, putting your own personal spin on it.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you so much for that. That was very helpful. Lots of great tips and some things that I think we don't always use or think about. This has been very useful. Thank you, Tamell Green.
Thank you.
All right,
for
sharing with us all of this great information about social media. And there again, pause before you post. All right. After the break, we'll get an update on some informative community conversations being conducted by the Richland School District 2. Find out what they are and all about them when we return. This is In Touch on KISS 103.1.